Let's keep rolling here. Now, okay, let's go to line number 4 and say good afternoon to the Liberal member of the House of Assembly for Humber Valley. And as of officially this afternoon, also a candidate for the leadership of the party full-time, Mr. Dwight Paul. Hi, Dwight, you're on the air.
Hi, Paddy Daly. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much for calling. Congratulations on making it official.
Well, thank you very much, Paddy. Well, my plan is, of course, I will officially file my papers tomorrow afternoon before I leave to go back to my district.
Yeah.
And 10 o'clock on Friday morning, we'll be officially launching the campaign back where it all started in Deer Lake at the Deer Lake Motel around 10 o'clock.
Dwight, I guess the good news for the Liberal Party is that now that we are quickly approaching Friday's deadline for people to demonstrate their interest and pay their money to join the race, the conversation for the first time in a long time is fixed on the Liberals. That it can only be a good thing other than some of the pitfalls we'll discuss in a second. But it is good news.
Oh, of course, it's exciting. Of course, this all comes on, a great victory for Lisa Dempster in Cartwright Lanceclair, and that's the reason why I'm actually in town this week as part of, I guess, the leadership being one thing, but of course just working way through my, the leader of the official opposition and all the roles and duties that, come with that. And of course, we've had a great election win in Labrador again and a great MHA joining the fold in Lisa.
Over the last number of months, I have been very open with my comments on your interim tag. I think it probably held the party back a little bit for overall popularity and possibly didn't do you any favors. Now, a lot of people have attributed the resurgence in popularity of the Liberals to you and your interim leadership direction, but it probably hasn't helped you much when it comes to the attention offered to you as opposed to the other candidates. What do you think?
Oh, well, I guess I would agree with that to some degree, but I mean, going back, back to January 2012, when I accepted the role of interim leader for the Liberal Party, I knew that along the way there would be pitfalls. I mean, let's face it, I was only just elected just a few months prior to that, so I knew there was a steep learning curve for me, Paddy, and I accepted that. I knew there would be risk, but I also knew that someone needed to step up here when the party needed somebody, and I was willing to do that. And today, as I said, I'm looking forward to now getting this on a permanent basis, getting the campaign started. We have great support across the province, and we've been speaking to a lot of people in Newfoundland and Labrador over the last 18 months, and I agree with you. There is a resurgence of the Liberal Party, and, there are a number of factors that attribute to that, and I'm getting more comfortable in this role, and, there's no question in my mind that I have what it takes now to, lead this province as the Premier.
I know you're not going to show your hand here in total and all your cards on the table, but strategy going forward is interesting. Mr. Bennett has proven to be a fairly vocal gentleman. Certainly Danny Dumresk has a long history of how he handles himself verbally, and he's very forceful. I think Miss Bennett is going to be a fairly forceful candidate, given that she's already under attack. She only announced or made it official a couple of hours ago and already been under siege. How do you play it? Do you let them go after each other, talk themselves into a hole, or do you go out front and present yourself as the man at the helm now? Why change horses?
Well, a bit of that, but Paddy, I said all along, and as you know, a number of times on your show, that my job as interim leader of the Liberal Party was to attract anybody that was to this party, and some of them could be leadership candidates, some of them could be leaders in their own associations, some of them could be potential candidates in the next election, and that's what we've been able to do. And I think this leadership run right now demonstrates that. We have 3 other good candidates, and I'll be there to make it 4, of course. And I'm looking forward to the debate and the discussion that we're going to have in many communities across this province. And, it all bodes well for the Liberal Party right now.
Unfortunately, I think, unfortunately, once again, correct me if I'm wrong, there's going to be too many people inside the Liberal Party focused on the Muskrat Falls issue as opposed to some real manageable issues that we have upcoming. When it comes to that, you've been fairly open about your positions, as whether or not we evaluated the alternatives appropriately, the role of the PUB, the lack of a real debate, an official debate with experts in the House of Assembly. Is there much sense in the Liberals focusing on the Muskrat Falls piece, and if so, where do you go with it in your platform?
Well, I think the next critical date for Muskrat Falls will be near the end of July of this year, when we will find out what kind of partner we have in Emera and Nova Scotia in this case. So if indeed they come in with conditions or don't come at all, or they come with, under the terms that the current government expects them to come in Elcor, that is, well, this could be, I guess, a determining factor in the development of Muskrat Falls. But the sanctioning, I still believe, was premature. I don't believe that the markets are there in the U.S. and beyond, I guess, Newfoundland and Labrador like we thought it would be. But indeed, I'm not against development, you know that. And certainly the other thing is that I keep hearing from people is about Bill 29. People expect to see government more open and more transparent. And these are the things that we'll be talking about as we go around the province.
Do you repeal Bill 29, Dwight, or is this a revision of what you think is a troubled piece of legislation?
Well, it was I'll always remember the night that we left the House of Assembly when Bill 29 actually passed through the legislature, and very quickly after that I said, Bill 29 is something that we would repeal. I'm serious about that. I think we need to have an improvement in transparency and accountability in our governments, and repealing Bill 29 would be a focal point of that.
If it comes down to people, and of course the process chosen by the party with the ranked ballots, and all 48 districts have the same weight so far as 100 points goes, and low person drops each round. When push comes to shove, and if things work out for you, is you and one other left on the ballot? And is it simply I've been the man at the helm and here's where we are? Or is there a way you differentiate yourself other than simply here I was all the way along? How can we change horses? What do you do? Because it's going to come down to something very personal, isn't it?
Well, I'm not sure. It won't be from me. I mean, I'm going to put my experience out there. I'm going to put my track record out there. I'll be very open with that. I mean, I've been there now for the last 18 months. I've been around the Liberal Party for a long time. And so I'll leave that to the people that actually cast their ballots and cast the votes. And, I'm going to be asking them to support me and support the work that I've done. And I think I've grown a lot in the experience that I've had. I'm very comfortable now in the House of Assembly, very comfortable in meeting people on their terms. And it doesn't matter if it's, someone that's been in business, or if it's somebody, locally, if it's at on a wharf somewhere, or some association, their own communities. I'm very, very comfortable in all those settings.
The last leadership contest was a real step backwards for the Liberal Party, and everybody knows it and remembers it. Between Mr. Grimes and Mr. Effort, it got completely out of hand, and I would suggest cost the Liberal Party 10 years of success, or at least hopes of real success. How do you avoid that this time? Because if that's what trips you up again, the other two parties are going to be there to help stir the pot, given the advent of social media and the way we look at politicians and the cynicism. How do you avoid it?
Well, this is all about the future of the Liberal Party, and as I said earlier, my goal was to attract people there. It's still my goal. It's still my objective. As Paddy Daly has heard me say many times on this show and others, our goal is to form the next provincial government of Newfoundland and Labrador, and I'll do that by creating unity within our team. That's my objective right now. I have a lot of respect for the other three candidates, and that's kind of the way I'll run my campaign throughout.
We know the Liberal history of yourself and Jim Bennett and Danny Dumars. A lot of people are talking about, is Cathy Bennett whatever this is supposed to mean, a real Liberal? She's got past ties with the PCs, whether it be in donations and other forms of support. Any issue with her being involved in this race and whatever a so-called Liberal is, or her past with other political parties?
No, as I said, we want to attract as many people. You can never win this just on a Liberal list alone. There are people that have moved around in provincial politics, for many years, and right now we will see others. I'm sure there will be people that will come out to support me that didn't always support the Liberal Party. I've heard that already. So my job is to bring as many people under the Liberal tent that will support me as possible. That's my objective right now, is to get people signed up, get members signed up in as many as the 48 districts as I can.
Dwight, I always appreciate your call. Enjoy the conversations. Good luck during this race. It's an important one for the party.
Absolutely, Paddy, and I'm sure you and I will have lots more discussions over the next few months, and I really look forward to that.
Me too. All the best, Dwight.
Thanks, Paddy.
Take care. Bye-bye. Dwight Ball is a Liberal member for Humber Valley, and of course, one of the 4 people putting their name forward to be the next leader of the party. For the Liberals this time, this is really a make or break stretch. It really is. They've got some momentum, and the difference between having some and keeping some is a huge chasm if we're talking about politics.